Hey, Miss All Stars. Welcome to another episode of Mike Talks with Miss All. I am the host, Miss All, and thank you for rocking with your girl one more time. I was thinking, just thinking over again as we start the year of 2026, but I consider myself a very blessed woman. And one of the things that I am extremely fortunate to have is some great friendships. I pride myself on my friendships and I don't take them for granted. I have friends who are at all different points in their lives. I have Gen X friends, I have baby boomer friends, I have millennial friends, and they all impact me differently based on where they are in their lives, and I absolutely love it. But I have to be honest, my baby boomer friends, those are people who are really special to me. Those are my seasoned friends. And I just love the wisdom that they share with me, that they've acquired along their life's journey. So, baby boomer friends, you know who you are. And I have my podcast cup here with me today, so I'm gonna be toasting a few things up. So stick with me all the way to the end. So toast it up to my baby boomer friends. So today I want to talk about friendships, specifically female friendships. A lot of times, female friendships get a bad rap. And as we know, there's always these TV shows, what is it, Housewives of Atlanta and Housewives of all these different cities, and these girlfriend shows that promote and show the unhealthy side of female friendships. But people want to watch it and drama sells, so that's why those are popular. But that's not my ministry. That's not what I'm here to talk about today. What I want to do is talk about healthy female friendships. Because if I talked about drama filled friendships, this podcast episode probably would go viral. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I want to talk about the healthy side of female friendships. So let's get into it. I have quite a few long term friendships. I have friendships that have spanned decade after decade. I still have friends that I have known since elementary and middle school. Those are the ones that we watched each other develop from girls to women. We have stories to tell and events that we've experienced throughout life, and nothing will ever diminish the significance of our connection. Distance in life may now keep us from communicating often, but they will always be a friend and be a part of my heart. So, those are my long term friendships. The beauty of real friendships is that some exist for seasons, and they are everything that you need them to be in that season. And then after those seasons, they become quiet supporters, and they support you from afar in the other seasons. But they are still valuable, still loved, and still appreciated. So take the time to acknowledge, honor, and appreciate any long term friendships that you have like that. So, all of my friends that we've been friends for over 30 years, and again, you know who you are. Thank you for being my friend. So, toast it up to my 30 plus friendships. Love all of y'all. And I also have meaningful friendships that started well into my adult life. And the beauty of these friendships is that these people met me as I was and not who I was becoming. And these friendships were developed by choice and connection. They didn't grow up in my story, but they chose me and they walk with me in love. So I'm going to do a part 2 of this episode where I talk about some of my more recent friendships and talk about building friendships later in life, because that's a whole different thing. I can't wait for you to hear that as well. That's going to be an exciting topic. Because again, that is not easy to do, developing friendships later in life, but it can be done. And I'm proof of that. So stay tuned for that episode. But today, I'm going to talk about my OG friendships. So watch to the end also, because I have something special to say at the end of this episode about my OG friendships. So I don't have biological sisters. I think I talked about that in another episode. And sometimes reality hit, and I did have to face the fact that I didn't have biological sisters. But then I started to realize I never ever completely felt like I was missing out because life gave me sisterhood friendships. So I have two long term friendships who have filled this void almost my entire life. I have two BFFs who have been around longer than longer than some people's marriages have lasted, longer than people's careers have lasted. But I have two BFFs, and anybody who knows me really, really well knows how I'm coming for these two. So the first BFF I want to talk about is my friend by the name of Dorothy. We met when we were 4 years old. We lived next door to each other. And if you watched the episode entitled There's No Place Like Home, her house is the one that I showed in that video. So we met when we were 4 years old, and Dorothy became my first friend. And us living next door to each other, that was really, really convenient because that's how we got to know each other and our families knew each other. And my other BFF is named Ursula, aka Tommy. Yeah, there's a whole story behind that, but we won't get into that in this episode. And I met Ursula in, I think it was either fourth or fifth grade. We went to the same elementary school, and she actually lived down the street from me and Dorothy. So the three of us became friends at that time, and we are still friends today. These two ladies knew me before life even made sense. They grew up with me. They grew up around me. We grew up together. The three of us are the keepers of each other's secrets that go to the grave. You know, those ones who they could open the closet and all the bones would fall out. That's what these two ladies are to me. Their parents were friends with my parents. Their siblings were considered my siblings. It was just a sense of family. But I want to share something that's pretty interesting, actually, about me and Ursula. And Ursula's mom used to always tell this story to anybody who would listen. Toasted up to Ruby. But Ursula and I's birthdays are 5 days apart. And our mothers were actually in the hospital together at the same time and shared a hospital room. They didn't know each other. They met in the room, but they were roommates in the hospital room, and they had their babies 5 days apart. So we always kid around and we'll say, I guess me and Urs bonded in the hospital in the cribs or something. Because then by the time we got to fourth or fifth grade, we become friends. How ironic is that? Talk about divine connection. But again, our the relationship that the three of us have has lasted decade after decade after decade. And like I said, it's outlasted a whole lot of other things in our lives. And yet we're still here. And friends this long, I don't even consider what we do anymore making memories. We're actually sharing history. Friendships like this don't happen randomly, and they don't last without work. It's like any relationship. You have to put in the work to make it last. So right now, we all three live in different states. We don't live close to each other, and we don't talk to each other every day because life be life. But the connection always remains. The beauty of long-term friendships is you don't have to work to prove your place. You already belong. No questions asked. We've been through so much over these decades, growing from girls to women, establishing careers, marriages, divorces, heartbreaks, children, loss of parents, all of life's ups and downs. But through it all, we were always there for each other and we always maintained our friendship. We've changed, we've evolved. We are not the same people that we were when we met. However, we changed the needs of our friendship to accommodate what we were becoming every time there was evolution happening. We accept each other as we are. Um, we recently had our annual start of the year chat. We call it the Weekend Girl Chat. And we had our kickoff where we talked about our goals and desires for the year of 2026. Oh, so you want to know what the Weekend Girl part of it meant? Um, we were in high school and there was a talent show, and we were rappers in the talent show, and the name of our group was the Weekend Girls. And there was one additional friend, Kay. She was a part of the group as well. And so we entered the talent show as a rap group called the Weekend Girls. And so toasted up to the Weekend Girls. We don't have time on the weekdays. But we still call ourselves that from time to time. So we had our annual Weekend Girl chat, and we just try to do things that help us stay connected, even though distance is a part of it. Our bond was built with blood, sweat, tears. Um, Bonds like that, they just have roots that go deep. I don't even know the words to put behind it. There's just a lot to it. A lot of late night, early morning conversations, drive-bys, that typically start with, "Are you okay?" and usually end hours later. They've heard my raw, unfiltered thoughts before I was even ready to accept them, before I was even ready to speak them. They didn't judge. They didn't try to fix me. They just stayed and let Lorna be Lorna. That kind of friendships mm, is strengthened by some strong roots. You know, you talk about roots and trees, and if the roots aren't there, the tree will fall over. Those types of friendships that span that many decades have deep roots. These friendships feel like family because that's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are. Hmm. There's something powerful about being friends with someone who remembers your parents in their prime. who remembers the house you grew up in, the street you lived on, who understands your silence and your absence, who cries when you lose, who cheers you on when you win. There's just something about those friendships. So as you are listening to this, I hope that you're thinking about friendships that you may have currently or have had in the past, and those people who walked with you throughout different seasons of your life, maybe through decades like we have, or maybe they were short term, but just people who walked beside you during some critical times of your life, who remember who you were, but honor who you are. And even if you only have one of those friendships, or even if that friendship was in the past and it doesn't exist anymore, protect it. Protect those memories, nurture it, and make sure that they know what they truly meant to you. What they truly meant to you. If they're no longer here, write them a letter, but just let them know what they meant to you. So I'm going to do that myself right now. So let me take a little sip out of my podcast cup first. Toast it up to my podcast cup. And if you remember, one of my friends gave me this podcast cup. So I have some great friendships. But here's one thing that I want to do. So this is to my two BFFs, if you're listening. I hope you hear yourselves in my words. So much of who I am was shaped alongside you. So many of my memories they make sense because you are in them. You've seen versions of me that no one will ever see again. And you stood beside me through all the versions of Lorna. You are part of my foundation, and no amount of distance, time, or situations will ever change that. I don't take your friendship lightly, and I love you both. Cheers to you both. That's it. So to anyone listening who wonders if healthy friendships can exist, and if all female friendships are like what they see on TV, just know that they're not what you see on TV, and that healthy friendships do exist. Healthy female friendships do exist. They're built slowly. They're built honestly. They're built heart to heart, spirit to spirit, soul to soul. So until next time, all stars, hold your friends close. Don't take them for granted, and cherish them. They are a gift. So I'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you